Becky here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm starting a new series that will hopefully be full of shorter videos, depending on how much I decide to ramble. And the series is called Random Thoughts to Ponder, or Food for Thought. I haven't decided for sure which title I'm going to go with, and each one will focus on a different topic. And today's video is going to be about medicine. So we're talking about both natural remedies versus the synthetic pharmaceutical versions that you can get from the doctor. And again, I just want to throw this out there as things to think about, because it's one of those things that's always made me wonder at our way of thinking and how we've kind of been conditioned to think a certain way. I'm going to give you a few examples. So years ago, long before I had a YouTube channel and so on, I would be studying up on the benefits of different herbs and spices and stuff, whether it be something I grew or something that I was thinking of growing or something I just used on a regular basis. So I was, looking up cinnamon and cloves and cayenne pepper and horseradish, which I don't actually use that on a regular basis, but I do grow it. And so each day I would list the benefits of these different things on my Facebook account so my friends and family could see that and think about ways that they could start including more of these spices and herbs into their daily diet. And so one day my focus was on horseradish, and I listed off a whole long list of the many benefits of horseradish, in particular in its raw form. And horseradish is excellent, by the way. And I had one of my old dance students who decided to get into the medical field after she graduated, and she never interacted on any of my posts for years. And then suddenly the day I put that out, she decided to come in and tell me in just one short sentence, raw horseradish is toxic in high quantities. And I thought, well, that's silly, because first of all, who eats high quantities of raw horseradish at a time? But being the kind of person I am, I thought, well, she's not backing up her claims, so let me go ahead and research it for myself and see if I can find any proof to what she's saying. Well, I had to do quite a bit of hunting to find that particular thing, because everywhere I went kept talking about the benefits of raw horseradish over and over. And I finally found, it might have been WebMD or one of these other type places, if that was even out back then. And way down at the bottom, after it listed all the great things about it, it said, it may be toxic in high quantities. But again, we're kind of coming back to who sits around and just eats high quantities of raw horseradish. I personally don't know anyone that does that, but here's the thing, it would take a lot, like high quantities. They're not just talking about a big heaping spoonful. They're talking about you just sitting eating bowls full of it. So I did come back to her, tried to be polite, and I said, well, that's interesting, and it took me a while to find that information, but what I find even more interesting is that I could take a pharmaceutical that has pages, if you actually are given the insert to that pharmaceutical, or if you go look it up online, because you can do that, you can actually find the information on these different pharmaceuticals if you look online, and specifically to places like the FDA and the CDC. And you can find pages and pages and pages of side effects and symptoms. Yet there's only a narrow possibility that particular pharmaceutical will even work for whatever it's being prescribed for. On the other hand, you can have an herb like horseradish or feverfew or lemon balm or anything else that can have a very long list of benefits, but a very, very short list of possible side effects. And let's talk a little bit about the side effects. When it comes to herbs, things you're actually taking naturally, not only is that list short, the amount of people it's going to affect is going to also be short in that negative way. And usually in that case, it involves specific allergies. So there's a lot of people with ragweed allergies have to avoid anything in that family, in the Asteracea family. So that could even be dandelions and echinacea, and the list goes on because it's the biggest family of flowers out there, the Asteracea. So obviously, if you have ragweed allergies, take care when using anything that's within that family. The two other big things are do you have, is if a person already has some kind of underlying health condition. And the other thing is if they're already on some kind of pharmaceutical medication, because some of these things don't react well. Sometimes the herb can actually make the pharmaceutical inactive, make it totally useless. So in that case, well, obviously, why not just use the herb? It's because the herb is actually working. But in other times, it could be the interaction of the two can have some negative side effects. So in most cases, that's what you're looking at when you're talking about side effects for natural things. And then, of course, you always got to look at the safety when it involves being pregnant or giving to young children. These are always concerns that we should think about when we're talking about natural remedies. Yet, the same thing should apply to any pharmaceutical that anyone is giving you. I come back to this because it never fails that when I put a video out on an herb and all its many benefits, though I do try to mention the side effects now and then, my focus is on the benefits. It's not on the bad things. But there is a certain amount of personal responsibility we should all take. So it never fails that someone's going to come in there and ask questions about that. Well, what if this and that and the other thing? Or somebody's going to point out the negative effects. There's nothing wrong with that. These are things you should ask always, no matter what it is. Yet, what's funny is that most people, when given a synthetic pharmaceutical handed out to them from the doctor, especially if it's the fifth one, they're already taken 4, and now this fifth one is for the symptoms from this one, which is from the symptoms from this one, which is for the symptoms from this one, then, are these people asking these same questions of their doctor? Chances are they're not, and even if they are, their doctor probably has no idea. Because in most cases, they do not know, because there's no studies done on taking 5, 6, 10 medications all at once and what kind of problems these can cause, let alone their individual side effects that they cause. And there are many. So when you go to the doctor and you're getting prescribed yet another medication, or even your first medication or some kind of injection, ask the same questions about those. Do not just trust the doctor because they're wearing a white coat and have some kind of degree up on their wall. That really tells you nothing about their actual experience, their common sense, and if they've really research any of this stuff for themselves, because they're not taught about all that in medical school. The number one thing they're really taught is how to prescribe medications, but no safety studies done on mixing all these different medications up. And also, the only thing that degree on the wall is going to tell you is that they crammed well enough to pass their exams. That's it. It says nothing about their actual knowledge and experience. So it doesn't matter who's telling you that you should take this or that and the other thing, be it me, be it the most experienced herbalist, naturopath, or doctor around. We should all be taking a certain amount of personal responsibility in either asking the right questions, and if we can't get the answers from that person, find someone who can give us the answers by doing our own research, or just keep asking. This is really important. I think we just become too conditioned over the years to just trust what the doctor gives us. Yet they may not even know what they're doing when it comes to giving you this for that, or what your underlying conditions may be, and the detriment it can cause to your health. So I'm going to throw another point out there. As of the last time I looked, the average annual death rate here in the United States alone from pharmaceuticals that are taken as prescribed is 168,000 people per year. That's just pharmaceuticals. That's not medical malpractice. That's not misprescribed drugs. That's not people taking the pharmaceuticals not as just prescribed, but as prescribed. And still, 168,000 lives are lost here in the U.S. every year just from that alone. So it comes back to asking the right questions, doing your own research, and don't just trust someone because they might know about this. Like, there's plenty of things I don't know. There's plenty of things I'm still learning along the way, and I'm always learning, and we should all be that way. And just because one person over here says it, be it me or somebody else, says something about anything, consider that, look it up for yourself. no matter what it is. And just to remind you, I do have a video out on how you can do your own research, how easy it is. Obviously, having some good hard copy books on hand is important, but also there's always going to be questions, and as long as we have internet, look it up and do not trust just one site to give you the right answer. I would say compare at least 5 different sites from different types of sources. So from natural-based websites to medical-based websites to even scientific studies. I try to look in all 3 of those places whenever I'm studying up on an herb or have any questions and compare the different information that I'm getting. Because when you combine it all together, it's where you're going to get the best, most rounded education based on those. Because every place you go to is going to have its own viewpoint. They're going to be coming from different angles, but if the information is properly put together, you should be able to get a pretty good idea. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video and it kind of gets you pondering and thinking, no matter what side of these different issues you come from, always be asking the right questions and be watching for more of these videos in this series to come out down the road. And once I have the playlist put together, I'll make sure it gets in the description box down below, and know that I'll keep adding to that as I go, just like my herb playlist and any of the others that I have out there. And anything you'd like to share on this topic, please put it in comments down below. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.